So Drake has given us his first album after the beef with Kendrick Lamar, as well as his first album of 2025 collaborating with PARTYNEXTDOOR. So from what I've seen, there are 3 different ways people feel about this album. Some people feel like this album is great, so they rate it a 7 or higher out of 10. Other people think that this album is boring, so they give it like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. And other people just think this album is complete garbage and they give it like a 4 or lower. Now, if you're a Drake fan and you listen to that album and you think to yourself that this is a 7 or an 8 out of 10 album from Drake, please raise your standards for Drake, please. I know you might love Drake, but honestly speaking, this album is not that great. It's definitely not Drake's worst album, but at the same time, it's definitely not his best album. In my opinion, Drake's worst album has to be Honestly Nevermind. And people might say, oh, you just don't understand that type of music, bro. If I wanted to hear that type of music, I'll just listen to a better artist who can compose it like Hey Trinada. Like, Honestly Nevermind, really, the only good song in that album was that Pigeonhole, the one with 21 Savage. This album, at least it wasn't as painful to listen to as Honestly Nevermind. So yes, it's not Drake's worst album, but it's not his best album. It's definitely not a 7 or an 8 out of 10. The people who absolutely hate this album and are giving it like a 4 or below, it's either you guys just don't understand what type of music which Drake is trying to make, or you're just Kendrick Lamar fans who just wanted to troll Drake and just hate on him on Twitter. Kendrick Lamar doesn't pay you guys enough to just hate on Drake. And also, why even bother listening to this album if you don't like Drake in the first place? Saying that this album is terrible it's just not right, because it really wasn't terrible. People are out here tweeting, talking about it being like one of the worst albums they've ever heard in their life, or like Drake has officially fallen off. A funny thing which one of my friends mentioned to me is Drake is literally doing what Kendrick Lamar wants him to do. Isn't it in Euphoria? Kendrick Lamar said, I like Drake with the melodies, I don't like Drake when he acts tough. And what does Drake do with this album? He gives us the melodies, which is kind of ironic, but he does end up dissing Kendrick Lamar later songs in the album, which is something which I found a little bit annoying, because everyone knows who Drake is talking about with these bars and with these lyrics, but he doesn't want to name drop and say, ooh, I hate you, Kendrick, you still make music for the slaves. I think one of the funniest bars, I actually laughed when I heard it, was Drake talking about the hoes being in the club twerking with a dictionary. Like he's still trying to go with that angle that Kendrick Lamar makes this music, which is just so difficult for people to comprehend. Like, ooh, like Drake, did you not just watch the Super Bowl halftime show? Like, I think everyone in the world likes Kendrick Lamar's music because everyone was calling you, you know, a PDF file, and practically the whole stadium was shouting A minor. So I don't get why he still keeps pushing this narrative that Kendrick Lamar makes dictionary music, like the hoes are going to be in the club twerking with a dictionary. Another unnecessary Kendrick Lamar diss is when Drake says, if a rap beef, I'm trying to get the party lit, I'm trying to get the party lit for the women. Bro, like this is just ridiculous. You're the one who perpetuated the rap beef. You're the one who said drop, 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 drop. You're the guy who enticed Kendrick Lamar to drop. He dropped Not Like Us and it became literally a song which gave him 5 Grammys. It became the sound of 2024 is literally Not Like Us. And I guess you can take credit for that, Drake, because, you know, if you never dissed Kendrick Lamar and asked him to drop, we would have never had Not Like Us. So you do deserve as much credit as you can get from this song. But honestly, Drake, like, we all know you're talking about Kendrick Lamar. Why don't you just name drop him? Why are you sneak dissing and saying you don't care about the rap beef? This is why people start to say that Drake is an immature person, because literally, bro, you didn't win the beef and now you don't care about the beef. It's like when you're playing PlayStation with your little brother and you're playing FIFA and then you beat him like 5-0 in FIFA and then he's like, oh well, I don't even care about FIFA anyway. But if this dude wins, he's gonna be there like celebrating like it's the best day of his life. Like he's gonna be celebrating like he won the Champions League. Like honestly, Drake, if I was a Drake fan and I'm listening to these lyrics, I don't know how all you Drake fans feel about this, but you can literally feel the pettiness being exuded from Drake. Like he's saying that the hoes will be twerking with a dictionary, and he's also saying that he doesn't care about the beef. But we all know if Drake won this beef, we would have never heard the end of it. He would have milked this whole situation if he won this beef. Now let's talk about the people who have the only correct rating of this album, which would be a 5 or a 6. The people who are like me. If you rate this album a 5 or a 6, and these are just my thoughts, you probably thought this album was just way too slow. For me personally, I think my first album listening experience was so bad because I had so much ear fatigue. The songs all sounded so similar. They all sounded like certified lover boy throwaways, and I just was not enjoying the songs on the first listen. And the crazy thing is, on the second listen, I did a little experiment with myself, and I played each individual song on a playlist. So I would have a playlist with like 3 songs, and I would place each individual song into like its own playlist with like 5 different artists. And if you listen to each song by itself in a playlist with 5 different artists, you realize that each song is actually good on its own. But the way they put the songs together in the album, it's just not nice. It just feels way too slow. It feels like I'm trying to travel on the highway, but my car just can't get out of second gear. So I'm literally moving at a snail's pace. So the structure of how they put the songs together made it just a very boring, very difficult listening experience for me personally. But it's not to say that the songs are bad. It's just that they were not put together in a nice way. You really have to sit through those songs before you get to the good ones. And there were good songs over here. I mean, I'll tell you the ones which I have saved on my phone. I'm just unlocking my phone right now. So the songs which I have saved on my phone right now is Something About You. That was a good song. Celibacy, but that's only for the second part. The first part was so corny. I think Drake even started listing the days and the hours of how long he's been waiting for this girl. And I get that he's doing it for dramatic effect, but I feel like that's just so corny. The second part where Party Next Door came in, that was really nice. Die Trying, really nice. Meet Your Padre. I really, even though Drake is now on his Spanish wave and he is, you know, biting Spanish lyrics, hey man, I liked it. I like Spanish music. I listened to Kali Uchis. Lasers was also nice for me. Give Me a Hug, where he was dissing a lot. I just liked it because it's a rap song. It's a really good beef. It's a really good beat, I mean. And Pimmy's Dilemma. Drake really put me on to Pimmy. Or I mean Pim. Like, she is really such a great singer. Whenever you listen to her music, it quite literally sounds like a Drake sample. I thought that was so strange. Because who is this underground artist that you listen to and she just sounds like a Drake sample? Not to downplay Pimmy as an artist and just say, oh yeah, she's just the Drake sample girl, because there is meaning and depth to her lyrics. But I just can't help it. Every time I listen to her music, she just sounds like a Drake sample. For me personally, this album was a 6 out of 10. And I have to give it a 6 out of 10, you know, for the 6 god. And it's just because it was too many songs that made it boring. But personally, the highlights for me on this album was discovering Pim and getting some decent new Drake songs. Nothing crazy, you know, nothing that makes me go, oh my gosh, this is like a generational song, but you know, some decent new Drake songs, so I like that. What I didn't like were these damn generic lyrics about this girl who doesn't exist. Like, Drake, bro, you're pushing 40, at least name drop who these women are, because on one song you're talking about celibacy, like this girl wants to keep you celibate, and on another song you're talking about this girl and she has friends who are bad for her. So is this the same person? Are these different women, or do these women even exist at all? Are you just making up scenarios because you think that this is what people are going through? These just sound like oversaturated fake relationship dilemmas which Drake is going through, and then people listen to it and they feel like they can relate. So I don't like that he's been doing this for so long. You're pushing 40, Drake. Just tell us who are the women who are breaking your heart. It won't hurt you. Majority of these songs just sound like certified lover boy throwaways to me. And I feel like if he just cut down the tracks from 21 tracks to 10 tracks, it would have made this album such a better listening experience. I would have even said it's a 7 or possibly an 8 out of 10 Drake album listening experience. But I had to sit through so many of these songs and suffer from ear fatigue. Like, majority of these songs just sound like background music to me, and I wish I didn't have to go through that listening to this album, but it really did sound like background music. Nothing was catching my attention. Most of this album just sounded extremely boring because of the poor pacing. Like, the pacing, this album is so slow. Like, people are not having sex to this music. People are not fornicating to this music. If they are, those are the slowest strokes which are going on. Only grannies and grandpas can smash to this music, bro. And R&B music, like the type of music which I fornicate to it, like it at least has some pace to it. This, it's not even like you can't even make love to this music. This music is just it's just so slow. Like, if I was smashing a girl and I started playing this music, she would just be like, yo bro, just play some Snow Allegra, please play some Snow Allegra or Daniel Caesar. What are you playing for me? But those are just my thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It really helps with the algorithm, and consider subscribing to your boy. This was my review, and yeah, if you disagree, you disagree, but in my opinion, this album was a 6 out of 10, possibly a 5 out of 10, and I guess I could describe it as mid in the best way possible.